What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. It's Thursday, and this is too loud. My God, it's too loud already. It's already blasting up my ears. Hey, everybody! It's Thursday, May the 1st, 2025, and this is the Fgeitas Show. We're back another week. I'm your host, Fgeitas. Here to talk about video game stuff, video game news, video game related things that are happening out there in the real world. Thanks for joining me on this lovely Thursday afternoon here in Portugal. It's a holiday. It's a national holiday, Workers' Day apparently, international holiday I think actually. So if you're working, I'm sorry. I am also working anyway, so it is what it is. But hope you're enjoying your great holiday, hopefully. But first of all, let me welcome people in chat. Hey, Mista. Hey, Jaguar. Hey, Rene. How you guys doing? A lot of the gorilla discussions happening this week on Twitter for some reason. I woke up like I think it was like Tuesday after the day after the mythical blackout that happened in Spain and Portugal, and I opened Twitter just like, why is everyone talking about fucking gorillas all of a sudden? What the fuck? And turns out the meme about 100 people versus one silverback gorilla got back on trending, and people were honestly discussing who would win in a fight, 100 people versus one gorilla. Hey Leo, welcome to chat, man. Welcome to another show. And it's just like the most dumb discussion. Like I love how people go to town on memes, saying yeah, no, like 100 people, like that's a lot of people for one gorilla, and they will probably like tame it down. But like, you know, it's still a gorilla. Like I think people really underestimate how big a fucking silverback gorilla is. And even, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not saying 100 people would not be enough to subdue a gorilla, right? Because it's still 100 people, okay? But that being said, casualties would happen for sure, okay? Just saying. Gorilla could definitely go like spinning lariat, just like Zangief from Street Fighter, and 50 people would die in that spot. At least, okay? So yeah, the blackout, it changed. Like, so I guess we're gonna touch on the subject, right? Like the blackout thing happening, and as that analyst and strategist, I need more details. Terrain, is a gorilla already angry? Can we craft weapons in the field? Because otherwise I would monster hunter stealth the shit out of it. So there's no data, right? there's the thing. Let's face it. Let's pitch like tournament of power arena style, like Cell versus Goku arena, open area, and like the gorilla is just standing there looking at the 100 people coming at him. Honestly, like if a gorilla saw 100 people like coming at him, I guess he would run. Because like like people, like you said, like gorillas are herbivores. They're not cannibals. They're not meat eaters. I forgot the name now. Carnivores. And I honestly doubt that like if he saw 100 guys just like running towards him, like yeah, I'm getting the fuck out. I don't care. And cannibals is it's people that eat other people. My bad. It's I mean, yes, I guess. I mean, if you're playing grapplers, you're probably a monk. A monkey, right? If you're playing grapplers on Street Fighter, or if you're playing grapplers on Tekken, you deserve that. But yeah, a lot of talk about gorillas, but majorly the blackout. Blackout was so like for context, Portugal and Spain were out of power for at least 8 hours, I believe, on Monday. Like we woke up here, and like both me and girlfriend were working from home. And we like, you know, like got up, took our showers, like ate our breakfast, started working, and suddenly like, oh yeah, like power's out. But on my area, it does happen a lot. Okay, so like power goes out all the time here, and actually like comes back like 30 seconds in, and we're like, okay, like this is just another one of those where power will go out 30 seconds and we'll wait. It's fine. 30 seconds gone by, and I'm like just casually went up to her office, and I'm like, you know, like it's still not out, like, and she's like, oh yeah, my boss in like up north in Portugal, she's also out of power. Like, okay, that's a bit weird, I guess. Just like casually happening. And then so I go to Twitter and start like just searching like blackout Portugal, and people are like, I got no power, power's gone, power's out, like this is fucking everywhere, what the fuck is going on? And then suddenly I start hearing like reports from Spain as well, like, oh yeah, Spain's also out of power. Like, what the who tripped over the cable, you motherfucker? What the hell, what happened? And turns out like something happened. It's we still, the weird thing is that we still don't know what happened, to be honest. Like, there's still no official report on why the power went out for so long. But you know, it was weird. I saw some really weird shit happening again, like people going all crazy because they started listening on the radio that the blackout could go up to 3 days or 1 week, and I'm like, okay, that's more concerning. So people immediately rushed out of their houses to buy, you know, supplies, food, toilet paper. It was like COVID all over again. I'm like, okay, that's like, if you're buying food and it's not canned food, at least, because I saw people buying actually like meat. You know, I'm like, you don't exactly have a freezer to store that in. You know, like it doesn't matter if you're buying food now unless you're gonna cook it right away, because if you don't have a freezer, or if you don't have a fridge, I guess you can't really store it anywhere, can you? Tuna is fine, okay, like tuna is fine. And at the same time, like, why the toilet paper, it's so weird. Like, the toilet paper does not make any sense at all. Like, just keep toilet paper in your house, man. What the fuck? But yeah, 8 hours have gone by. I went for a walk with Rene, like nearby, because we live nearby. Then got home, start like reading some stuff that I was behind. I'm reading, like, I've made myself a promise that I would read House of Leaves again. So if you don't know that book, it's a pretty interesting horror book that's written in weird ways. I honestly, like, it's one of those things that it's hard for me to recommend, but House of Leaves, it's pretty interesting as a book and as a concept. But yeah, like, reminds me of COVID time, just like people going wild with toilet paper, says chat. It's like, yeah, that does, like, it just showed me that, like, we like, if apocalypse actually comes, like, we are fucking screwed. But yeah, like, sit down on the sofa. Eventually, like, girlfriend got called in to go to her actual workplace, so I dropped her there because they have a power generator. So I picked her up in the meantime, like, end of the day, and I visit my mom because like we have a electrical stove and not and my mom has a gas stove, so we also live nearby. So I just showed up at my mom's house, and she was like so worried, like, oh my god, I was texting you, I can't, like, I didn't know if you had any food at home. And like, mom, it's been like, you know, 3 hours or 4, like, it's fine. I'm not gonna die of starvation just because there's no power today. Okay, I can eat raw, or I can eat bread and with something. Okay, like, I'm not gonna die because of it. But we ended up like having dinner at her place because she has a gas stove, so she could cook meals there. But it's like, it's so funny, the panic that eventually like got, you know, quickly spread out because of like one small blackout. I mean, I guess not small, like I guess 2 countries being powered out, it's still too much. Survival kit by Jaguar on chat, I guess. And like what the other thing is, like the messages that like quickly spread around with misinformation, like, oh my god, it's gonna be the Russians launched a cyber attack and it's they're gonna invade Europe. And like, no, like, why would invade Europe? Like, why would Russia invade Europe from Portugal of all places? Like, I don't even know if like Russia knows what a Portugal is. Even more so, like, start the whole invasion from here. Like, they're on the opposite ends. They would actually need to move the whole troops through Africa, so no one notices in Europe, and just like go over like all the way up to the Mediterranean and go up. Like, come on, like, this, like, let's be real, okay? Like, just no. Okay, no, let's not panic over this until official word gets out that we are actually being invaded by aliens or whatever. Like, just no. Pretty interesting Monday, to be honest, though. Like, honestly, like, at some point, light came around like at 7:30 p.m., 8 p.m., I think, around here. Like, we were already like getting ready to dinner. But overall, like, I feel like nothing happened of like that was notorious, I guess. Hey Chunga, welcome to chat, man. But like power going out and like, I just, you know, like, just I was just reading overall and spending my time like, well, I guess I can't work, I guess I can't edit anything, I guess I can't play Blueprints overall. So I guess I'm gonna read, you know, like, I need to finish that book. Radio was saying it was gonna be a week. Yeah, Lisbon had to be different. I heard that Lisbon, obviously, which I think it makes sense, like, being so many people in one specific place, it's obviously gonna be worse overall. And like, where I am, like, I'm near Porto, but not really near Porto, you know. Like, we are still in the outskirts, so like no fuss was happening. He would have gone insane. Yeah, if it was more than 2 days, like, if it was more than 1 day, I would be heavily concerned. Because obviously, like, there's stuff to do. There's like the two whole countries cannot stop for 2 days. But like, it was 8 hours around that, maybe a little bit more in some places, and like, people behaved fine. Okay, like, there's some reports of accidents happening, in like, people going crazy on groceries and like getting stuff in a panic. But overall, I think we actually did quite well. I don't even think it's like, but now, like, obviously the internet being in the internet and getting the meme culture up and running immediately after the blackout, people started memeing on it, and like, that's, I guess I think like my generation and like the following ones, I guess Gen Z is Gen X as well. Like, we are so fed up of shit happening, you know, like we got, you know, housing crisis, we got COVID, we got market start crashes, and like blackout comes in and is like, I'm just done. Like, I just don't fucking care anymore. We are sick and tired of living through historical events, so we just beam on those. Like, yeah, economy collapses, like, whatever. I'll go to work in the morning, don't worry. Should be fine. Unless there's a fucking gorilla on the road, right? If there's a fucking gorilla will probably go like, there's a new soundbite for you guys that I was working on. And yeah, after that, like, obviously, like, power came in, I got home and continued to play my Blueprints runs. And like, I feel my opinion did not change of that game. I'm still very angry at the RNG of that game. Like, I want to. There's one specific puzzle that I want to solve because I know it gives me a permanent upgrade. I guess this is a transition to video games if you guys want. But there's a specific puzzle in Blueprints that I know it gives me a permanent upgrade, that I've been trying to get it done, I think, for over 60 runs at this point, because I restarted my save. But if I count my previous save and the new save, over 60 runs that I can't do this puzzle. Not 16, 60. A 6 and a 0. Which is way worse. And like, it requires me to get two rooms in a row that are connected to each other, that you can connect the rooms to each other. And I guess I'm gonna talk spoilers. Like, at this point, I don't care. If you're coming here for non-spoiler chat, I'm sorry, but there's a laboratory room and the boiler room. Boiler room gives power to several other types of rooms that you can place inside that grid. And once you solve the boiler room, you have two other doors that you can go through, and you need to either draft the room that you need for completing the puzzle. So it can be the lab room. There's other rooms that require power, I believe, which is one is the pump room, and I guess you can power the garage as well with the boiler. But honestly, like, it's easier to just go with a breaker box. But after you solve the boiler room, you need to route the power through some air ducts. And there's rooms in specific that have those air ducts as well, or power ducts if you want, that you can connect other rooms with those, like mid traveling rooms. I got a run, like, I think it was like 2 days ago or yesterday. I sent a screenshot to Rene. I had at least 6 rooms that had power ducts all combined, ready to go for in case like a boiler room would come out. Like, if a boiler room would come out, I could power all those rooms with a single run. Boiler room did not come out after, like, I guess 6-7 attempts and several like re-rolls of the rooms. I'm like, I am so fucking done with this bullshit. The RNG just hates me at this point. Which sucks, because I feel that game was made specifically for people like myself that love the RNG runs and love the roguelike stuff and also love puzzle games. But at some point, like, the puzzles get lost in the seeds that you get in the middle of the RNG. and it starts to become more frustrating than exactly like it's not about you doing puzzles. It's more about you getting the right seed and getting the right run just to progress. And progress has been very, very slow. Which sucks. I think it's to give them credit. I don't think I ever saw a roguelike combining puzzles with like I don't ever saw a game I ever seen a game doing this combination of like roguelike and pathfinding and at the same time getting puzzles in the middle. So like I get it's difficult to maybe balance this shit out in the background. At the same time, I feel like it needs to fine-tune some stuff. It needs to fine-tune some stuff just for progress to not be overly demanding, right? Especially because now there's like those two specific puzzles that get harder and harder as the days go by, and at some point you are gonna restart the whole the whole save game because you just don't want to lose time to those puzzles. Like I don't want to go up to the billiards puzzle and pulling out the calculator and making like squared roots of weird ass sums and divisions and like going back to square roots and putting something like exponentials all in one, like just to get a pair of keys. I don't want to go to a parlor box and have 3 parlor boxes that are all white and you need to guess in which one the gems are if you don't have any statements. And then like I don't want to do this. Like it gets to a point where it's more frustrating than fun, you know. Ichunk is saying I love roguelites that trap that drain your free time. I think like one of the reasons why I think roguelites are so popular nowadays, especially in the indie scene, is that because they add a lot to replayability, right? If you want to market your game as an indie developer and you look at the trends, like one of the biggest trends in games is like, hey, I bought this game and it's like it was $60 and I had 200 hours of gameplay in there. I you know, like if you remember, I guess it was Dead Island 2 saying we got over 2,000 hours of gameplay for you to enjoy, like as a marketing campaign, and they immediately got backlash of people saying no one wants a fucking 2,000 hour game. Like, dude, like that's not what we want. And they came out like, okay, we were maybe exaggerating a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit. But the fact is, like, people look at time spent in a game versus cost a lot. And roguelikes and like procedurally generated environments is a big appeal for indie games because they can extend the gameplay time that way, artificially sometimes, but you know, that's a whole conversation. It's very easy to it's very hard for people to like to sell someone on games like Insight, you know, or like a short hike and charge 20 or 15 or $20 for a game like Short Hike, because it's like, well, this game is 2 hours long and there's no procedurally generation, there's not anything else that I can do after I finish this game. And like, if I pay more than $10 for this, well, I feel I didn't get my money's worth. Not saying this like should be the right approach, okay? I don't think it's that linear. Otherwise, like, free games would be better games, right? Because like they cost nothing, so, and you got like stuff like Fortnite, you can play that game forever. And if it costs $0, if it was like a linear equation, then the math would not math, right? But yeah, for indie games, I guess it's one of the reasons why roguelikes are such hype right now, or so like are so ingrained in that specific level of game development, because they add to your gameplay experience. You can easily turn a game that goes for 10 hours, turn it into 20, 30, or 40 hours long, because it's procedurally generated, and you can replay the game again. Something like Hades, right? Hades can cost like $30, and you would say like, I got my money's worth because I can play 200 hours of this game easily, because every run is a different run. And Blueprints is almost that, except for the fact that the puzzles are like, as you go up, the puzzles get increasingly annoying. So what starts by being, oh cool, this is a really like funny puzzle, haha, like I need to do math on this billiard on this dartboard, ends up being, I fucking hate looking at that dartboard again, and I never want to play darts in my life. Ever. Like, if I see a dartboard in front of me, I would probably smack the shit out of it. Just because of the fucking PTSD. Like, it's the exponential increase, and the fact that the rewards do not increase in that game if you solve those puzzles. You suck at darts? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I never played darts. I think. Maybe I did. If I did, I was probably drunk. Yeah, like having achievements like will probably help you do, but even then, 40. I was almost on my 50th day on the first save, so I went through almost 40 of those for sure, and I couldn't look at them anymore. And I think it's the fact that rewards do not increase. I think it's mostly that. Like, if the rewards decrease, like, hey, I got 1 key at first, or I got the card key, right? But then if you're like on your 50th day, you get like, hey, I got 3 keys and a gem, that would be pretty awesome now, right? Like, okay, I can put up with this, because I know I'm getting something better out of it. At the same time, I don't think it's... I think it's like for think about it like as a balance situation. I guess it also, it's kind of whack, because that means like the longer you play, the easier it gets to reach the ending, and you can easily abuse that, I guess. Like, you could skip the first 40 days, just like start the game and call it a day, and then you'd have, 50 keys on your first run of the house. I still stand though on my opinion. Like, better rewards would probably make me hate less those puzzles, and not resent as much every time that room comes in the draft. Like, every time I draft a Billy's puzzle, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go through this again. So, it is what it is. Blueprints, even then, like, I think I still recommend the game, even like having not finishing it. It's just a golden retriever. I think you need to explain that to me, Jaguar. But like, I still think I recommend the game enough to be fun, and for people looking to a different experience, I guess. On like as gaming goes by, give me better rewards. If so, I would love it. I mean, it's true though. Like, I think that if, like, as in most games, if you increase the difficulty and you are able to, get through it, as the game gets harder and harder, if you get better reward for the game being harder, I think it's only fair, I guess, right? It's only fair that you get better rewards as you get better at the game, or you increase your difficulty. If you get the same rewards, like, why would you increase the difficulty? There's no, like, is it the bragging rights? Like, I can understand the bragging rights. Like, I solved this in, I passed like Ninja Gaiden in master mode, and my reward was saying I beat the Ninja Gaiden in master mode, or in Ninja Master mode, or whatever. Like, okay, but what did the game give you? Nothing. Like, okay, so cool, I guess. Like, cool for you, right? But I need better rewards for me personally, as you know, as more of a casual approach for games. And it is what it is. I mean, that being said, we have some things to talk about. We have some things to talk about with gaming. We went almost 4 weeks without talking layoffs. Can you believe that? Can you believe we went a whole month without talking layoffs? And EA had to come in and fucking screw us. The freaking, like, I guess, streak. God damn it, EA. What the fuck are you doing there? This comes in from Insider Gaming, but technically it's from Bloomberg. Bloomberg, as usual, Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, reporting on EA firing around 300 to 400 people. That includes roughly 100 people. Let's create a layoff counter. I don't have enough numbers. There's not enough numbers in whatever counter you're gonna create right now. That will last until the end of 2025. But yeah, the 300 to 400 people include 100 people already confirmed by the Respawn Entertainment guys after it canceled 2 games. As part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that just more effective align teams and allocate resources in services of the driving future growth. EA's Justin Hicks told Schreier in a statement. So, long story short, they canceled an extraction shooter setting in the Titanfall universe, which makes me. This was something that like, I'm not a Titanfall guy, okay? I never played Titanfall. I played Apex Legends. I think those games are fine. I'm not a shooter guy, okay? But I know how loved Titanfall is. An extraction shooter, yeah, in the Titanfall universe. So not Titanfall 3, okay? Just another spin-off like Apex Legends is. The thing is, I know how Titanfall is a beloved franchise. Naked Man, CK, for some reason. That's what happens when you search for underwear. Because I need to buy some. And pajamas as well. But yeah, so I don't know why it just stopped seeing this ad. Done. Will it go back? We'll find out. But yeah, overall, I know Titanfall is a very beloved franchise. I believe people in chat will get, like, will probably confirm on this. And I don't get why they. I guess I get why they don't do Titanfall 3, because Titanfall 2 was a flop in terms of sales. Okay, so that makes perfect sense in why they're not keeping to do, why they don't do another Titanfall. At the same time, if they keeping the franchise, you know, in a zombie state, because Apex Legends was okay, and like in terms of sales wise, okay. I mean, not sales because it's a free-to-play game, but in terms of monetization wise, those people are surprised at this point that they got fired. I mean, funny. I'm gonna say funny in quotes, okay, because it's not funny. The guy that made the new the new operational, the new character that Apex revealed a few days ago or yesterday, the guy that created that character was hit with the layoffs. So I guess, yeah, I think it was you that sent me that, right? Which is, you know, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you create a new character, you get revealed, and as soon as your character gets revealed, you're like, yep, you can, you know, the door is right there. You can go. It's crazy, like the fact that this is related to this piece of news. Alana Pierce has a very good video that came out a few hours ago about the state of gaming. Something we discussed is like a few months ago. And the fact is that, like, at some point, exponential growth is not viable anymore within these companies, which means like the games are being profitable, just not profitable enough for people to keep their jobs, so they just like fire everyone. It sucks. Like there's no like more words to convey whatever like it's happening in the games industry, like, and again with Titanfall, again with EA's, it's like, it sucks. There's no easy way to put this. At some point, like, a collapse will happen in this industry, because, you know, profits are not what they projected. It's not that there's not profits. Profits are there, just not enough. Also, yeah, they canceled 2 games. Let me see if I can see which games they canceled. They canceled more. They canceled the Titanfall stuff, and the other one, I don't think they confirmed what it was. But they're focusing more on Star Wars, and they're focusing more on Apex. I believe some of the people at Respawn are also working in the new Battlefield, if I'm not mistaken. According to that Battlefield video that came out like a month ago or so, I believe. So this makes sense overall, this all lines up. I'm not saying it makes sense. It's a stupid word. It's part of it, right? It's like they're just restructuring people and sending people around to make the biggest Battlefield of them all, and like investing heavily in that franchise. I'm not sure like how much that will, like, I guess we need to wait and see. And Skate, right? And Skate as well. Skate reportedly will be free to play and always online, right? Which, you know, like, we were expecting that. In the meantime, EA and Codemasters, speaking of EA and Codemasters Studio, they will stop developing rally games, ending a decades-long run, which started with the first Colin McRae game in 1998. I'm sad to report that I remember the first Colin McRae. So this gives away, like, this is exposing my age here right now. Yeah, first Colin McRae, 1998. Codemasters is done with rally games. Not only the Colin McRae stuff, but the World Rally Championship, like, it's done. Which with every great journey eventually finds the finish line, and today we announced that we reached the end of the road working on WRC, Codemasters said on Wednesday. After releasing EA Sports WRC in 2023, the 2024 season, including a recently released Hard Chargers content pack, will be our last expansion. For now, we are pausing development plans on future rally titles. Rest assured, EA Sports WRC will continue to be available for existing and new players. We hope to remain a source of joy, excitement, and the thrill of rally racing. We've poured our hearts into making it for fans, and we know you'll keep the passion alive. So yeah, no more WRC and Dirt. I think Dirt was still coming out, right, at some point. So like this, like even more with the Respawn canceling stuff, with the 300 through 400 workers going off and getting laid off by EA. So WRC is also gone. So big changes for EA. Why am I having... Cool. Okay. Thank you for giving me like random sounds, I guess. Oh, you guys have no desktop audio, which is better. So I like video started playing with all of a sudden. Yeah, good. Good. No more WRC games or another franchise in the dust by EA. I mean, at least not by Codemasters, right? We are not sure if Codemasters like will keep doing any other thing. What games did they made besides the rally stuff? List of Codemasters video game. Actually, let me check out, because I know what else they did. It's all F1 and WRC. Grid Legends in 2022. My God. Dirt 5 F1 Grid, Dirt 5 on Rush. So they were just making. They were just making like rally and F1 games. Okay. I guess those games are not selling as much as they used to. So partnership's gone. Cool. In the meantime, the biggest news of the day that came out like I guess 1 hour ago, before we enter live, Microsoft raises the prices of all Xbox Series consoles. Xbox games confirmed to hit $80 this holiday. In an announcement today, the company said that we'll be raising prices on Xbox consoles, controllers, headsets, and some games. The price hike for consoles and accessories kicks up today, May 1st. And while game prices will stay the same for now, we should expect to see Xbox charging $79.99 for new first-party titles around the holiday season. Price increases are taking effect globally, with the exceptions of headset prices. Cool. You're gonna buy a more expensive console, but you can still buy the headset at the same price. Good job. We are only going up in the US and Canada. Which are only going up on the US and Canada. So if you're in the US and Canada, well, I guess you're screwed if you want to buy a new headset. So they released this. Xbox Series S will go up from $379 to $299. So I would say $380 to $300. Okay. $380 from just $80 price increase for a Series X. As well as the S for 1 terabyte. Series X will cost $600 now. Oof. That's how much will it be in Portugal, by the way? Is it the same for us? Will the console be $600? Do I have to... Okay, I'm not connected. The spring on your LB? LB? What do you mean LB? Okay, I wanted to see how much an Xbox was going for, but turns out there's no consoles. Oh, your LB button. Oh, fuck. Xbox gamepad? I'm seeing like very conflicting prices. Broxman playing rematch. That game will do that to you, by the way. That game will include that, by the way. We'll do that, by the way, to you. Let me see if I can see this in like Portugal, IGN Portugal, just to see the. Yep, there you go. 600 euros for an Xbox Series X. So people were complaining about the PS5 Pro being 800. You know, it's like $200 now. Remember when this obviously this is all like impacting with like the tariff situation will probably have like a small impact on this. The fact that they are not selling as much consoles anymore, it's also like part of this. But at the same time, like, we are, what, 2-3 years away from a new generation? Maybe less at some point. And I remember when console prices would actually decrease during their lifespan and not increase, okay? And what the fuck? $100 increase is pretty substantial, I'd say. And pretty worrying, actually, to be honest. It's a $50 increase for each console. Yeah, that's oof, 50 euros increase for each console. That's quite a lot. We understand that these changes are challenging and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. Though we didn't know yet which first-party Microsoft games will cost $80, we can guess the lineup may include the next mainline Call of Duty. Honestly, like, makes sense, $80 for a Call of Duty. New Fable, and Perfect Dark Reboot, Clockworks Revolution, Everwild, Gears of War, OD from Hideo Kojima. I forgot that game existed. And State of Decay 3. Oof. Well, sucks. We've been having like such good weeks here with like games getting announced and stuff happening. You know, like consoles getting announced. Stuff overall has been great. And like May comes in and oof, mega oof for everyone. You know, not great. Obviously, like this comes in as the industry, like, you know, Nintendo. Obviously, they're saying like Nintendo is increasing their prices as well. PlayStation also increased their prices a few months ago, I believe. I mean, with the PlayStation Pro and all like coming out, like the prices were already raised for some reason. And you know, Switch 2 coming in at almost $500. I guess this like falls in tandem with all of that thing that's happening. At the same time, like I feel like we are raising the price of something that it's technically old at this point. Okay, like console came out in 2020. Which means it's a 5-year-old console is getting a price hike and not a price decrease. I don't even know where to begin or where to start with this conversation. Like this, they're pushing the Game Pass and the Xbox Anywhere feature, which, you know, like more and more just seems like a better deal than actually getting console, and console will be for you know, gaming enthusiasts only, actually, like hobbyists. At the same time, PC prices are going up with like graphics cards getting more and more expensive each generation, which just means like at some point you are going to like start to alienate the bottom tier of people that are used to play games, that like cannot afford a console like this. And it's just like it's crazy, like, to think about it, that at some point like you cannot get a console like below 500. I guess you still have the Series S at $379 with a 500 gigabyte disc, which is not that much, you know. But if you have Game Pass and all, like, it's still probably the best deal in gaming that you have running nowadays. Not great. Small piece of news that I found it very interesting. This comes from PC Gamer. Larian Sven Vinke. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Okay. After like these are actually two quotes from this interview that I wanted to talk about. But one is that Sven says AI obsessed studios won't have a competitive advantage because those tools are going to be what's available to everybody. Vinke says that all games need a human touch, even if AI's been useful for early prototyping and annoying PC work. I cannot disagree with this man. It's like it's very hard to disagree with this take, because that's true. Like, one of the things that we've been talking about, and honestly I'm still very much against like the use of AI as it is right now. But the truth about AI is that it's supposed to be a tool for helping game development and making stuff faster. Not a substitution for making the stuff. Okay, making the stuff faster, it's not the same as making the stuff. Which exactly is like what he's been saying here. And that's honestly like happens with almost every industry that like adopts more and more technology as it comes. Like happen in the music industry, happens in design, happens in video editing, obviously. And like with games, it's going to be the same. You can add more tools to your work to make your work be faster and like come out faster, right? And like as a video professional, I guess, which is weird to say. Like I'm still not used to calling myself a video editing professional. You know, like we have more and more plugins and more tools for After Effects, for Photoshop, for Premiere to make my work easier, right, and deliver a better product faster. That doesn't mean that it does my job for me. Like, it just means that I can now cut corners to get to the end result faster. I still need to fine tune and put my own spin on it, just to not be, you know, a template just slapped on there. Same thing with AI. I think AI will level the playing field for some people. Not as it is right now, because right now, like, people are just using AI as like, hey, make me, you know, like an asset, and just the asset comes out and they just slap it onto the game. I guess you like later you can use AI to make a prototype and then like work on that prototype to make it better. But Vinke has proved that like he knows. He's still like pretty much an old school gamer type of guy, I guess. Like like he's very much like not caring about the industry trends and the industry like investors that are going around with like they want to openly adopt AI, and they want to openly, you know, just make profit for profit's sake and growth for growth's sake. And like Larian Studio CEO like actually feels like he's making this for the love of making games. Obviously, like he still needs their games to sell, but I believe he understands that to make these games, you need to actually like enjoy what you do and make sure that human hands get the touch that they require to produce said games. It's fun. Another quote that comes from this interview, which is not quoted here in this article, is that they're not doing DLC for Baldur's Gate because according to him, DLC is boring, which is very funny. Which is like another thing that like goes against the trend of all the things going around in gaming and gaming industry. Because if you have a successful game and a successful franchise, you want DLC for that game to keep the game alive and keep the game running. And Sven just comes here and is like, yeah, no, that's boring. I'd rather make a whole new game and make people like interested in the new game and buy that new thing that we made, instead of just adding to the stuff. Like just like it's done. Baldur's Gate, not even counting with Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate, they already said that they don't want to work with Wizards of the Coast anymore, so Larian will probably be done with Baldur's Gate or Baldur's Gate franchise from now on and just do their own stuff. I wish they made like another IP, like I guess a Warhammer. That would be kind of cool. Or a Call of Cthulhu RPG. I guess that would be interesting to see Larian's take on it. But the fact that they just don't care for DLC, it's so funny. Like, because it just goes against everything that we've been seeing coming from these like massive games and these massive studios. And in the meantime, Duplo, I don't know if Duplo's in chat, but he just posted this. Hollow Knight Silksong will be playable in September 2025 at an Australian museum. What? So what does that mean for the actual release date? IGN can reveal Hollow Knight's... Yep, what the fuck indeed. Team Cherry's long in development game is one of the most anticipated in the world and has topped the Steam wishlist charts for years. The studio, which is based in Adelaide, South Australia, has yet to say when Silksong will be released beyond the vague 2025 window, but at least we know it will be playable for those who can be at Australia's National Museum of Screen Culture, ACMI, for September 18. Oh, 2 days after my birthday. Cool. Moving to Australia right now. Bye, guys. Silksong will be playable at the Melbourne Museum as part of a video game exhibition called Game Worlds, which will also include display that delve into the game's design and artistic direction. Huh. Hundreds of sprites that animates Hornet's different movements and attacks, logic behind the game's most challenging boss fights, and of course having the game playable in the gallery. Our Silksong displays delve deeply into details of the game's artistic direction and design. We're so grateful for Team Cherry for trusting us with their work, and so excited to share that work with you. I wonder if that means that we're getting Silksong earlier than September. Okay, IGN says the same thing. If it's going to be playable at the museum in September 18, perhaps we're looking at an August release date. Whatever the case, things are certainly ramping up into World of Hollow Knight. Silksong made a brief appearance at Switch 2, Nintendo's last Direct, and soon after Team Cherry nailed down the 2025 release window. GTA 6 gonna release this year? I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I still don't believe GTA 6 will come out this year. Like, but at some point, this is just me, like, talking out of my ass. I don't have any insider info or whatever, like people may say. But Hollow Knight, like Silksong, has been... We've been waiting for this game for so long. August doesn't seem like a terrible launch date, honestly. Like, a few months away from now. GTA 6, if it releases, will probably be like November, maybe December, early December. If I remember correctly, that's when When did GTA 5 came out? September. What about PC? April. November 14 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. April for Windows. Huh. Okay. Interesting. But I guess, like, even if it's like, if GTA releases in September, let's assume it's a September release date like GTA 5 was, which I don't believe. I believe it will be way later. I believe it will be November. If Silksong comes out in August, I still think it's like, it's not gonna be eaten by GTA 6. Or their sales will not be like heavily affected. Which also, like, it's also different types of games, right? Because Hollow Knight and Silksong are like more catered towards the indie scene. I know it's pretty much like the top of the indie scene because it's pretty mainstream at this point. But GTA 6 is just a different beast. Like, it's not even like close to, or rather, Silksong is not even close to like the massive success that GTA 6 will be. Regardless of scores, regardless of whatever that game actually is. So August seems like, honestly, like a pretty good date for them. That would be kind of cool. And if it's playable in September at the museum, I think it makes sense. August release date. Early September, like first week of September, maybe. Who knows? Other than that, what we have, speaking of GTA and 2K, Borderlands release date is going to move to a week and a half earlier than expected. Randy Pitchford is getting moved from, said the game will be moved from September 12 to September 12 instead of September 23. I told you I would have news for you today about Borderlands 4, and I do. Pitchford said in the video, it's not the news you're expecting, it's about the launch date. Okay. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking at no point there has ever been a game that announced a launch date and then later had to announce that the launch date is changing. What? You're thinking at no point has there ever been a game that announced a launch date and then later had to announce that the launch date is changing. That Randy, that happened several times, actually. God damn it. Randy, what are you doing? Why are you like this, Randy? Have you found your pen drive? Your USB thumbstick that you left at the medieval times already? But I wanted to tell you that the launch date is changing. I know we promised that Borderlands 4 would come out at the end of September, and the team has been working very hard, and everything's going great. Why does he talk like Trump? That's my question. Why does Randy Pitchford sound like Trump? You know, like, we've been working very hard, team has been working very hard, everything's going great, like, the game's great. It's fantastic, like, the best game ever. In fact, sorry, I'm so sorry for this. In fact, everything's going kind of the best scenario. The game's awesome and the team is cooking. We're moving it forward. Launch date is now September 12th. I mean, cool. If you're excited, I don't care for this. I really don't care about Borderlands. Like, I understand people like Borderlands. I couldn't care less about this game. But if you're interested, like, cool. Here's a cool game for you coming out on September 12th, I guess. Checking out the news. What else I have here? I have one game to show you that came to my attention this week. Haven't tried it, but it does look kind of interesting. And then we hit the last piece of news from GOG, or GOG if you want. Stealthvania parkour platformer The Siege and the Sandfox launches May 20. Navigating a world teemingly with hidden threats. This is a Metroidvania. I dig the art style for this game, but I found it funny, or I find it appealing. It's an indie game, as always. Like, as you guys know, I will show you indie games more than AAA games. Hold on. There you go. I find it very cool, the fact that this is focused on stealth. You can pet the dog. I know. I thought it was kind of cool. I love the pixel art. I think the fact that it's focused on stealth, it's kind of cool. I'm gonna give you guys a link if you guys want to wish list it, which I think I haven't done it yet, honestly, because I haven't opened this page. There you go. I don't think I've seen very much Metroidvanias focused on particularly stealth sections, I think. Most Metroidvanias like focus on combat and exploration, but being the stealth guy, it's not really very common. And I kind of liked it how it looked. You know, I'm a sucker for good pixel art, and this came to my attention via Gematsu, I believe. Article on Gematsu. Talking about it, like, oh, this looks kind of neat. I thought I would bring this up. Sadly, there's no demo yet. Hopefully they'll release one soon. Nope, no demo. Okay. Last piece of news. It's gonna be a short episode, this one. Again. No, not this. No more layoffs, my bad. Last piece of news is GOG came around with more releases on their preservation efforts, and they released what I would say it's one of the best JRPGs that PS1 has to offer, Breath of Fire 4, which is now available on GOG.com for $9.99. I'm not sure if Nuno is in chat. Usually hangs around there. He will vouch for this game for sure. A mix of pixel art and 3D graphics, as you can see. Pretty cool. One of the major things that like made me like the story is the fact that PC port for the original Breath of Fire 4 was pretty shit. Which is, you know, like one of the reasons why most people would rather play this on an emulator or directly on a PlayStation 1, and instead of playing the PC version. So now you can play it on PC with like actual enhancements. This is not a remaster, okay, but like they have enhancements for the PC port, and you can get it for 10 bucks, which is cheap as fuck. Did they release any more game? I've actually did not check if they released any more. Because I know they usually release these games in batches. Newest additions was Star Wars Battlefront, the original classic from 2024. Dark Forces as well. Breath of Fire, Armageddon, a bunch of Star Wars games actually. Rebel Assault 1 and Plus 2, 1 and 2, TIE Fighter, X-Wing, and Ultima? Robin Hood. Tex Murphy Adventure Under a Killing Moon. This is actually a pretty cool game. I remember this one. Ultima and Ultima Underworld 1 Plus 2. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. But yeah, the big... I clicked it. I guess the big news is actually like Breath of Fire 4, because the PC port was pretty jank. And it was kind of lost, you know, like getting a copy was pretty bad at this point. Getting the game up and running in this day and age, like it just gets worse and worse. So Breath of Fire 4, like actually just being available on GOG, it's pretty dope. That being said, I think I have no news to speak of, or any more to speak of. We've talked about this. Oh yeah, we can actually check Alana's video that I haven't seen, if you guys want to check it out. With where is it?
Something really crazy is happening to me.
No, not the ads.
My channel is sponsored by...
Actually, this is a pretty long video, so I'm gonna leave this guys with a link. You should check this video from Alana. Just checking.
Extremely profitable, but because less profit, it is actually a colossal failure. And thus we are presented with a crisis that has resulted in multiple studio closures, record layoffs, and video game cancellations. Now, I have already made multiple videos about the human impact of this and why it sucks. And it does. It really sucks. There's nothing else to say. It sucks. But today we're not going to be talking about that. Today we're going to be talking about what's going on from a purely data-driven standpoint, or at least from an investor standpoint. I've spent the last several months talking to investors, jumping on investor calls, and looking at trends to put this video together, and the answer, as I was digging into it, became very clear very quickly, actually. But it's something that I feel like not a lot of people are really talking about. And part of this is also unpopular opinion, probably from me. Shocking, I know. Who'd have never happened before, obviously. Part of this is why I think Xbox's everything is an Xbox marketing campaign is actually very smart, and why it is a direct answer to the statistical problems that the games industry is facing right now. It's been really interesting to kind of piece all of this together. Now, any of you who watch my streams or listen to my game development podcast, Play, Watch, Listen, check it out on youtube.com/playwatchlisten every second Friday. Will have already heard.
We can go.
Not only is that page document called The State of Video Gaming in 2020.
The blow-up mic is yours or hers? Huh?
25, written by Matthew Ball, which I've gone over statistical problems that the games
I don't know.
industry is
Let me
facing
know.
right now. It's been really interesting to kind of piece all of this together. Now, any of you who watch my streams or listen to
My voice, my throat is a little sore
check it out
today,
on
so
youtube.com/playwatchlisten every second Friday. Will have already heard me talk about this, but I figured I would present it here today in a much more refined, neat, tidy YouTube video format.
I can lower my mic a little
Let's
bit.
start with numbers. A lot of what I'll be talking about today is referencing a 225
What about now?
page
Is it better?
called The State of Video Gaming in 2025, written by Matthew Ball, which I've gone over, like I said, on streams and podcasts.
We talked about this like a few weeks ago, and let me check the number of the episode, which I forgot now. This was episode 7, so 2 months ago we talked about this document. Like, it's making white noise. Is it still making white noise? Weird. Yep, my mic has noise cancellation, supposedly. The thing is, like, I'm not hearing it back, which is, like, just weird. Huh, okay. Seems to be picking something up. Let me do one thing. Like, it's turning on when you're silent and picking up the wind. It's turning on when I'm silent and picking up the wind? Huh. What about now? Is it better? I have nothing on my screen. I have nothing on my audio, man. Isn't it your PC though? I should. It's kind of like a trail after I speak. That's even weirder, man. I mean, I can check the filters if the filters are applied. Can I? They're all being used. Let me up the release of the limiter and the noise suppression. Bring a little bit up. Let me know if this is better for you. But it's kind of weird because I'm not like I don't have any feedback on my headphones. I mean, I can turn that off. Let me know if it's better this way. Changing a little bit of it. But anyway, I'll figure out that like after the stream. But it's weird because like I don't have any like feedback on. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm stopping stream like in 20 minutes. So.
A whole lot of data. Some things that I'm not even going to cover here, and I highly recommend giving it a read if you're a person who's interested in video games. Though, as said, I am also pulling from analyst firms and stock market related websites to dig deep into this. First, let's set up the scene. From 2011 to 2021 specifically, video game spending was truly insane. Worldwide consumer spending increased from 80 billion to 200 billion in the span of a decade. That is crazy performance. Not only is that like way more spending than every other entertainment industry, it was actually the video game industry outperforming the entire GDP. In the same time frame that the US GDP increased by 51%, the games industry increased by 100%.
This is honestly like
basically games
super
industry.
Crazy. We've talked about this on that episode. It's the fact that like gaming from 2005 to 2020s like increased so much that investors were like, we need to invest in this shit. Okay, like we need to make money out of this somehow. So let's dump money into
very strong,
into gaming.
disproportionately strong. Crash definitely coming.
Yep.
I don't know why I said that like the Hulk, but it was efficient. And while the COVID
Fair.
pandemic did help tremendously,
Fair,
and
Alana.
a lot of people were indoors playing video games as their only means to socialize, the games industry was obviously extremely, unbelievably healthy before that as well. 2020 basically just made a somewhat gradual but still very significant climb, just a whole lot steeper. But it wasn't like video games suddenly became a success in 2020. That wave had been coming since 2010. The increase maintained in 2021, and ultimately the industry reacted. Stock market shareholders responded, the demand for games increased, studios hired more people. Then 2022 showed up. Some industry analysts, largely the people who tell rich people which things they should invest in, projected continued insane growth into
This is the thing we've been talking about, like, and this comes in like into the EA stuff, into the layoffs that have been happening like week after week. It's the fact that these are the projected, these are the projected gains of most of the companies.
2022. Investment company ARK specifically projected 300 billion from the games industry, up from just under 200 billion. Some did expect the drop though, and it came. This is the part of this video that I feel like is really important for me to say. Some video game reporting, and I should say some of it is really excellent as well, is really not being clear enough about this particular facet of this whole picture. Like, people are...
I think we are not talking about Ark Survival Evolved, okay? This is the different type of Ark. Okay, it's a different type of Ark. It's this Ark Invest. Okay, this is not Ark Survival. Do not mistake this with the game. It's a very different type of Ark. Okay, it's an investment company. Okay, so basically what Alana was saying, like, this company just looked at the video games trend and said, this game, the video games industry are gonna continue to grow like through 2021, 2022, 2023, and so on, right? So if it's continued to grow, like, we need to invest on this, so we need to put money, right? Yeah, let's face it, I don't know if Ark is still doing well. We can actually check just to compare how it's going. I'm gonna say it's doing pretty well, I guess. 32k players in the past 32 hours. I honestly, I thought it was gonna be worse. Not gonna lie. But 32k players, yeah. It's the roller coaster is like, if you want to check it out, it's like, it's 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. Okay. One UTC. So 1 UTC. What UTC? UTC. That it's this time zone. Okay. 1 UTC in Portugal. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. 2 a.m. In Portugal. Okay. So 2 a.m. like it starts to grow up until 14, so 3 p.m. What this means is that probably, okay, this is a game that's mostly played either on the on Asia. It's global access. Okay, so Asian markets and like that are basically like when it's our morning, it's their afternoon, right? If you look at like East Coast, Western coast of the United States, so like we're talking California and all that, like that's when players are going up. Once they start to go to sleep, it goes back down. Okay, so Europe does not play a lot of these games because we're talking about like late afternoon, when people come out of classes, when people get out of their jobs. At night, like, it's not happening that much, but when those countries start to wake up, like, there we go. You can see like this trend in a lot of different games. Like, I think if you look at, for instance, I think Marvel Rivals, it's 100% an European game. Yes, I am human. Where's the charts? Where's the charts? Give me the charts. There you go. So there you go, like 10 p.m. 10 a.m. actually. Start going up and you see like, see? As soon as afternoon hits, people are logging in into Marvel Rivals in Europe. But as soon as like 3 a.m. hits, so like late night gaming, they shut down, like back. Like no one's playing this in our dawn. So you can see like Marvel Rivals is definitely a European game. Or a more successful European game than an American one. This happens a lot. Like it's normal. Like games find their audiences differently around, you know, the different countries and different time zones. So this is kind of expected. It's rare a game like it's not something like a PUBG, I guess. PUBG, I mean you get mobile, so mobile it's different. If you look at PUBG, like okay, PUBG actually same thing. It's, I mean, we can see, but Overwatch, for instance, let me see if Overwatch is more like neutral. See, like doesn't get a like that much of a deep, but even then, like actually like goes half to the players. But 14 UTC, so this is like peak afternoon. They start logging off up until like 9-10. Okay. I'm not sure like what other hero shooters I can compare them to besides Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, and these are the biggest ones. If you want to check out another one that is on Steam, by the way, that needs to be on Steam. But yeah, like mostly you can find trends on, like, especially on online games, especially on this. Especially on online games, you can find this trend of like there's a specific time zone when people go to sleep and they don't play the game anymore. But then I mean, you know what, where that happened and you could see that it was like on this game. Remember this game? Remember this game where like I mean now you can't go back. But remember when this game came out and people were like, oh, look, Black Myth Wukong lost over 1 million players overnight. And it's like, yeah, dude, China went to fucking sleep. Turns out Chinese people also sleep like normal people, you know? Weird, right? That would happen. Because like China, yeah, right? Like that, like fuck you. Like what a stupid reporting. Like we've lost 1 million players overnight or 2 million players overnight. Like yeah, like Chinese people, you know, like regular people also go to bed and they stop playing games. And then like as soon as they like the reporting comes out, China starts to wake up and you see the same thing, like just going upwards, like whoop, like okay, like Chinese people are back to gaming, everyone, I guess. Like the God of War probably had the same spike downward. Which one? You mean Ragnarok? I mean, same thing, right? This is like 1 week. Obviously, like a whole lot less players because it's a single player game that's come out for, it's out for like quite a few years. But the first one is the same. See, like definitely like a European like Eastern Central America type of game, but like you see here, like when these two continents are asleep, a lot less players are playing it. Like it's normal, you know. It's pretty normal. Like this is like a week, okay? Like if you go like for a month, if you go for a year or like release, obviously it's like where you have the most peak players in most cases. Not true for every game, but for most games. Some peak here, I don't know, maybe this was an update or something. Not sure what happened. But you always have like a small bump in, you know, January, December, February, because like holidays come around, people get the game. Yeah, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's not being picky. Like if there's an update on the game, you know, people are gonna get back into it. That's not being picky. It's just like it's the way it is. But if the game has no updates, as you can see now, that's like the usual stuff. It's around here. It's fine. Let's keep the video playing for Alana. I'm gonna open the door to my cat.
Just not talking about this, even though they definitely should be. It is extremely relevant. And I know this is a lot of data. It sounds like a bunch of numbers. But hear me out. In 2019, the games industry, or as the analysts call it, the world games content and services market, was worth 151 billion. In 2020, that grew to 182 billion. Big rise. 2021, it grew to 191 billion. In 2022, it dropped to 182 billion. This is when the layoff started.
This is a very good point. 2022, I mean, we always had layoffs, okay? Like but the massive layoff stuff, this is when it happened. And this is a pretty big point to get here. Sorry, we'll talk about Wukong immediately get on the defensive. God forbid someone said something negative about it when it was release week. I mean, yeah, like I couldn't care less about that game, but like I don't think that game needs defending at all. Like 2 million players, I think it's enough to understand that that game was, you know, pretty alright. At least pretty alright. Okay, I'm gonna say this like the most nonchalant way.
Around 8,000 people lost their jobs in 2022 as a result of the industry constricting after the COVID growth did not sustain. It is time to talk about Aura. Did you know the Bank of America recently industry is still bigger than it was to make it $1 billion? The games industry is still far, far, far bigger, literally by $30 billion, than it was just 3 years prior. I just feel like I see a lot of conversations that make it sound like the industry is down pre-COVID. It's not. The industry is still bigger than it was in 2019. So we have 2019 at 150 billion, 2021 at 191 billion, 2022 at 182 billion. In 2023, it actually grew again to 193 billion. 2024's data is still kind of confusing at this point. Found some conflicting information from different people, but
just to make that point, the fact that Black Myth Wukong was seen as a second coming of Christ for some gamers. Maybe it's me that's on Twitter too much, you know. But the same harassment campaign that came for Assassin's Creed, you know, the Assassin's Creed Shadows, because, you know, there's a black man in my game, please. The same people that started that harassment campaign for Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws and a bunch of other games like the Intergalactic from Naughty Dog were the same ones defending Black Myth Wukong, like with, you know, everything they had, because it was the for them, it was the second coming of the non-woke gaming era again. You know, because the fact that you have a game based on Chinese mythology means the game is not woke. Whatever woke means. But, you know, people that are a little bit maybe too frustrated with their lives, and they decide to make harassment campaigns for these types of games that, you know, like I'm not saying Outlaws was amazing, was like the best game of all time, or Shadows is the best game of all time, but games not even coming out and people are already crying woke for those types of games because, you know, like there's a black samurai now, there's a woman in my game. Women are not pretty enough in my games. I guess I can't jerk off to it. My advice to those people is fuck off. Like, get out of gaming. We don't want you around here as well. Like, just play some fucking games and stop complaining. And to that point, like Wukong was seen as I guess I can link you the video and I see you guys, because I'm not gonna have enough time to see this video and comment on this. But the fact is that those people, like, yeah, obviously, like, I guess the game is decent. I'm not saying Wukong was a bad game or was a good game, to be honest. Like, I haven't even played that game. I don't see the appeal of this for me, okay, personally. But it's very funny that there's a big tie-in between those harassment campaigns of those games with, especially Ubisoft, because Ubisoft is the one that's on the downside, right, right now. And those same people crying like every game is woke, every game is shit. We need to bring back gaming as it was. Blah blah blah. You know, I want my game with women with big tits and without a personality. Basically, they looked at Wukong and said, "Hey, this is coming from China. This is like feels like a good old hack and slash," which you know it kind of is. But because there was no, I guess, you know, LGBT stuff with that game. But surprise, it was, you know, based on Chinese mythology. There's not, you know, homosexuality on Chinese mythology or culture, for that matter. But also they don't need to know about that because they probably don't read. You know, it is what it is. But it's the same. It's the same group of people crying that thing. They've been around for quite a few times, for quite a while right now. You know, we've seen some of them like being fairly popular in the mainstream media of like in terms of internet. You can see like people like Smash JT, Mark Kern, or Grums if you're on Twitter, and some other folks that like join that type of people that are constantly crying like woke gaming is dead. They harassed. You probably heard the story about Sweet Baby Inc. and the company that was destroying games from the inside because everything was turning woke because of Sweet Baby Inc. I can guarantee you 100%, most people that complain about Sweet Baby Inc., they don't know what Sweet Baby Inc. even works, how that company even works. Okay. Because, you know, remind me again what they made. Who? I'm sorry. There's like a freaking thigh beat up witch has a decent story that goes places with youth having to join gangs due to poverty, and it went totally under the radar. I'm trying to understand what you said there. Again, let me get door for cat. Oh, okay, sorry. The Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby. So around, I don't know which year this was. Sweet Baby Inc. was one. It's a consulting company. Okay, that it specializes in writing and like people, basically like making sure that if you want to include people that are from certain minorities in your writing, in your games, you are doing this in a way that's, you know, not seen as racists or like, or if you are portraying this from a stereotype kind of vision, right? you know, like there's a lot of stereotypes going around, but some of them are harmful and some of them are not, are more acceptable, right? Culturally sensible, exactly. And what these people do is like, hey, so like, let's say you're a game developer and you are writing a game that includes I'm gonna say like a black people that comes from, you know, southern states, okay? So like, I'm gonna say like Louisiana or something, and you have that person, and like a person that did not grow up in Louisiana and it was not like around those people, or even grew up as one, right? Sometimes may be looking at those people and making like a stereotypical vision of said person, and it's not even like with ill intent. It's just like, it's the way those types of people are perceived in, you know, across media, and you want to make sure that at least like Louisiana black people are representedly like fairly and not in a bad spotlight, okay? So you hire Sweet Baby Inc. and it's like, hey, I wrote this character, but I hope it's not, you know, it's not a bad portrayal of that type of culture. And Sweet Baby Inc. as people that are like knowledgeable in this type of culture and go there and be like, hey, this logic, what you've done is like, it's bad, or it's not like correct, so this may need to change. You don't need to change. Hey Mark, welcome to chat. Like when you hire someone as a consultant, okay, you don't need to follow what they say. You can still like hire those people, get their opinion, and be like, I'm not gonna follow your opinion. I'm honestly, it's a waste of money if you do that, because like if you're hiring consulting to make your game better and not using their advice, like it's just dumb. But at the same time, you're not obliged to follow their information. Okay, and that's what Sweet Baby Inc. does. Like, it just goes there, like looks at your stuff. Sometimes they get hired as a writer. Like I think it was Alan Wake 2 that they were hired to write the female cop, I believe. So like they have experiences on that field. Okay, like it's not like you're gonna hire Sweet Baby Inc. and then suddenly like, oh, you need to put like a gay person in your game, otherwise like it's not seen as culturally appropriate. Like, okay, but what the fuck, man? Like that's not what happens. So that group that created that harassment campaign and like was showing Wukong as the best game of all time because it was anti-woke, okay, was also some of the same people that made an harassment campaign about against Sweet Baby Inc. Was the same people that are still on an harassment campaign against Rolling Stone magazine writer Alyssa Mercanti, at the time writing for Kotaku, and overall like are just people that honestly I don't think they are. Like, I don't think we need those people in gaming culture overall. Like, I think gaming is an ever-evolving medium, and like the more people we include, the better, honestly. And the fact like we honestly have been seeing like some push, or a lot of, we've seen a rise of like LGBT characters, like more inclusive characters overall, and sometimes they're done poorly. It's not because they're gay, it's not because they're trans, there's not because they're like black or female or whatever, right? It's because sometimes the writing just sucks, okay? Like video game writing sucks for a long time. Only now, like I guess with the appearance of games like The Last of Us and like around PS3 era, gaming writing has evolved a little bit. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's still like Hollywood levels of writing, because we still have some pretty like high standards for Hollywood. I'm guessing the main films, not the MCU stuff. But you know, like video game writing, it's video games. Like there's only so much you can do with video games, because at some point you have interactable stuff. You have stuff that Like it's just on the gameplay front, and you can't. I guess there's like certain barriers on stories you can tell, to make your point across. Yeah, like it's with Black Myth Wukong. Is that why you dig Suda? No, I dig Suda. So Suda 51, as well as like other game developers, have a thing about, they know that their games are games, okay, and they're not shy about it. It's one of the reasons why, for instance, I don't like. It's not. I'm not saying they're bad games, but like stuff like Last of Us or Assassin's Creed, like the more Western types of games, like they tend to go for this realistic approach to storytelling, right? You look at Last of Us, it's like, oh, it's a drama with, you know, people trying to survive in this zombie apocalypse, and it's very serious, right? And I don't mind serious, but I think with games there's a big clash between serious and like trying to portray realism in gaming, and then like after so many conflicts, with like internal conflicts and morality conflicts in Last of Us, you go out there and shoot a bunch of people, right? It's like, ah, fuck it, like now I have a shotgun, let's go. Okay, done. And then you go back to another cutscene and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe the other guy died. Like, yeah, you just killed like 20 people, but like that specific guy you are the one worried about. It's not the fact that you just committed mass murder. Right? It's but then you look at Suda 51, or you know, you look at Koichi Suda, you look at people like Kojima as well. Kojima also has this, although people do not acknowledge it so much time, so many times, is that Suda is like, I'm gonna make a fucking video game about, you know, a monster slayer motorcycle riding dude that has a weapon called Boner. And you're like, this is fucking hilarious, man. What the fuck? Right? And that's like Road to Hell Retribution, I believe. Or I'm gonna make a game about a guy that orders a fucking beam katana because I can't use saber. I can't use a lightsaber for copyright infringement reasons. But I'm gonna order a beam katana from eBay and become the #1 assassin in the world. Like it's like the plot is so dumb that by the time you're playing, like, yeah, the plot is dumb, so this is fine. You know, it is what it is. Kamiya as well. I think Kamiya is also a good example of that. I don't know, like so many developers like try to go for the guy who made Deadly Premonition. I forgot. But yeah, exactly. Like one of those guys. Like I'm not saying they're better. It's just like it's my type of preference, right? I like games that assume that are video games and not games that try to be something else. I understand like games pushing for the Hollywood stuff and the more deep stories. Which is fine. Like I think some of those are really well made, but I like games that are not afraid to claim, "Hi, I'm a video game, and this is fucking dumb right now." Jet Set Radio, exactly. That's another one. And yeah, give me 5 minutes because I need to answer my door, please. I guess you have a cat right now. There you go. Yeah, sorry. People were ringing the doorbell, and I had to get it. But yeah, like you were saying, Jet Set Radio, you know, I guess in a way I kind of miss when games were a little bit simpler, in a way, and they tried to do weird shit overall. And I guess that's why I like the indie game stuff more than I like AAAs, because I feel like indies don't have that pressure to, you know, appeal to a wider range of audiences, and if they want to go apeshit on stuff, like, you know, like Blueprints does it, the RNG with Escape the Room stuff, Cruelty Squad, like completely, like just not caring about their art style. UFO 50 as well, like with the RNGs on underneath the layer of the 50 games that they have. I think it's a cool, like those games in specific, like are really like pushing the boundaries of what like games should be, in my opinion, in like weird, interesting ways, I guess. While with AAA stuff, like because of investors and because of, you know, like people, because it's one thing, like Alana was saying in this video, is that right now the AAA industry is working for the investors, not for gamers at this point, because you know, like you hear so many people complaining about, oh yeah, I like another extraction shooter coming up. Oh yeah, another battle royale, another multiplayer game, another gacha game. Who's playing all these games? And turns out, like, most of the people are actually like playing single player games and older games instead of these ones. But the fact that multiplayer games have the possibility, and I'm not saying they're making that thing come true, but the possibility of a multiplayer game, of a live service game coming out and being super profitable, like, you know, Fortnite, like Roblox, like you know, stuff like Apex Legends, the FIFA card stuff. That thing appeals to investors because they have chance of monetizing shit and making money out of it. While if you look at a single player game, like the game sales, sure, the game can sell and be profitable, but it's not profitable enough for them to keep milking the money out of them. And that's why you see like AAA games exploring more and more the multiplayer space and exploring like monetization spaces with different strategies like battle passes and, you know, microtransactions. Like they pivot to NFTs at some point. It did not work out. The mobile gaming also like is stunted at this point. But these are the types of things that investors want, and there's a pressure on the development side of things to do these types of games because they have the possibility of being more profitable than a single player game on the long run. Obviously, because everyone is trying to do this, not every game is going to be as profitable as they want. And if you look at the indie scene, there's not that type of pressure. You look at the indie scene, and developers are like, obviously trying to appeal to some type of audiences and try to sell their games the best they can, but you still see some weird experiments coming out of indie stuff, and that's why like those type of games appeal to me. The AA space on the Japanese side of the industry is also pretty interesting because, you know, of people like Suda51, of people like Kamiya, the Deadly Premonition guy, which I forgot now the name, and, you know, a bunch more stuff. Even the Yakuza, like I feel people are like calling Yakuza AAA games at this point because it's pretty mainstream, but Yakuza's ended up being a very weird kind of brawler overall. Like it's still one of those games that I don't see how it gets mainstream appeal. but it's working. It's working out, and good for Sega because it's working out very well. It's more of a double A, yeah. It's definitely more of a double A game for sure. And besides of that, like you have other things. Like I mean, Expedition 33 just came out, a French RPG that was not afraid of going turn-based with realistic graphics, I guess, but they changed the whole turn-based thing on its head with the QTEs. Not saying that that thing was not done before. Okay, it's like if you look at Legend of Dragoon from the PS1 era and another, I guess Super Mario RPG, if you wanna go that route. The fact that they decided to, you know, change the things a little bit and focus heavily on making the combat look pretty. It's a well done chimera, exactly. Like I wouldn't have put it like even better than you just said. It's a well done chimera, and like it works. Like it definitely was a game that. I'm not gonna say the Xbox stuff did not help. Like the fact that Xbox was promoting the game heavily on the Game Pass, and like obviously it helped, like that to get that game like proper recognition overall. But they risked it with you know a different style of game, that is not very mainstream right now. I know people point out a lot of times like, oh, Baldur's Gate came out, it was turn-based and it did very well. Metaphor ReFantazio also came out and it did very well. But I think like with Metaphor, I think the anime aesthetic turns a lot of people off. Not saying they're wrong for thinking like that, you know, like, but I understand that some people the anime aesthetic just doesn't click with them. It's fine. Like graphics will sell a game at the end of the day. And as for Baldur's Gate is not what I would call turn-based exactly like we are used to. It's turn-based, sure. It's a game that you play by turns overall, but for me, like Baldur's Gate, it's a computer RPG most of all, and not a JRPG. Like when we talk turn-based RPGs, we are talking the Japanese RPGs. You know, like the Final Fantasy stuff, the Dragon Quest stuff that we all know. And although Final Fantasy kept changing their formula to include like active time battle system, which is not exactly turn-based, but also not real time, okay? Or you have the tactics stuff as well. But Baldur's Gate is like, if people talk to me and say, hey, like Baldur's Gate was also turn-based, I'm like, yeah, but it's more of a Western RPG, computer RPG type of deal. Like we had those games on PC for so long. Not to mention that Larian made like a couple of those before that, you know, kind of did alright, I guess. So Expedition, like, just like it feels fresh most of all. It goes on to the Western ones. It's just it's a game that feels different from most of them. Like I don't care if people say like it's the oh yeah, it's like turn-based RPGs are back. Like just no, there's turn-based RPGs were there for the longest time. But Expedition 33, despite some of the shortcomings that I saw already in that game, I still think it feels super fresh. In the grand scheme of things, like the way the game looks and it plays, it feels fresh, and I don't think no one can take away from that. Like that studio came out of fucking nowhere and it came out swinging. It's like an amazing first impression for the first game of that studio, and it's from France. Like goddamn, right? I guess that's a point taken out. It's come from France. Like we need. I'm kidding. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's yeah, it's very different. It's love. It's the people that made a game understood what made the RPGs, the JRPGs, great, but also realized that they needed to do something different. You have good game from France play. Oh yeah, like I was just memeing on the French. Come on, Ichunka is in chat. He knows what I'm talking about. I love my French people. I guess. What else? I guess that's it. I think we're done for here overall. But yeah, like overall, like just to finish this conversation, like I do love indie games because they reminded me of simpler times, I guess, where games could be more experimental overall. You know, at some point, like people, like mainstream games went hard on the realism side of things, but they can't go too hard on the realism, and I started not caring much about it because it can only be real. I think this is maybe a hot take from me, but the more realistic a game is, the harder it is for you, the easier it is for you to see through the cracks. Okay, because like at what point do, like, games cannot be 100% realistic. It's impossible. Like you can go, for instance, for a racing game. Racing games, like, you have the destructibility, right? That you had for the longest time in the PS2 era, early PS3. If you look at the destructibility of racing games in that space, they were fucking cool, right? They were fucking, like, if you played Carmageddon 2 on PC, at some point your car would be completely fucked up. Like, I'm talking wheels would be turned 90 degrees on their side. The engine was gonna be like, you know, just crawling on the ground, scrapping everywhere you'd go. The hood would be gone, the windows all shattered, and your car would be just like curled up into a ball. And it's funny. Like, I'm not saying it's not funny. Like, you look at that car and be like, shit, this is all fucked up now. Wow. But it would be funny for what, 5 minutes? Because then you can't race. You can't race anymore with that car. Like, you either endure the race with the car completely destroyed, or you'll repair it. Because it's funny. Like, I'm not saying it's not funny. But with the racing genre, then you have just stuff like on top of it. You got the licensing stuff. You got the even the destructibility is like it's taxing on the systems, right? But the licensing is another problem, because at some point you have car manufacturers going, you know, like, I sold my license for that Ferrari to that car, to that gaming company, and the most images that I'm seeing of the new Ferrari is my new Ferrari all fucked up, and that's not a good. I think it's stupid, but they don't see it as brand safe. They don't see it as brand friendly, right? So they like, you either get the license, or you just create cars to destruct that are not licensed. Forza did that, yeah. Like, and at some point, like, you see a decline on these types of games, especially on arcade games. And at some point, you had just Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo in the biggest competition of racing games, right? And arcade games were gone. Arcade racing games that you would destroy the car overall, or like you would get dents at some point, like, they were gone. And Apple has something like that for movies. You can't destroy an iPhone, or like, or if you're doing something badly, you don't want the logo to be showing up. Kotor is saying, like, GTA San Andreas is way better at wrecking cars. Actually, I haven't played too much of GTA 5, so I guess I understand what you're saying. Like, I have no point of comparison. But yeah, like, you get the licensing stuff, you get and even like that, like, if you go if you go for ultra realism, like at some point you have to understand that you can't be super real. Like, because if you destroy a whole car and you can't run with it, like, okay, I can run this car for 5 minutes. I can't do anything else in this. With this, if you look at the there's a one game in specific that I remember a lot, which is actually making me very concerned for a new upcoming Switch game, for the Donkey Kong game. You guys remember Red Faction? Red Faction was fucking cool because it could destruct almost everything in that environment. Like, you would shoot a rocket and the whole building would come down collapsing. Right? And that was pretty fun. But as a game design, it only gets you so much. Because, like, you can do puzzles, you can do a lot of shit. Right? Red Faction Gorilla, exactly. You can do a lot of shit, like, in game design, but if the answer for everything is, I'm just gonna level the whole fucking building, and there'll be nothing left. Like, because the original Red Faction also had destructible environments, more than Gorilla, actually, because it's a whole series of games. But, like, yeah, if you turn that even into multiplayer, like you've seen with Battlefield, at some point, like, a match starts and it's just people leveling up the whole buildings, like tearing them to the ground, and then you just have a empty playing field overall. Like, from a game design standpoint, that type of realism is just not attainable, as you know, in the long run. It's funny, like, it's honestly amazing, and the tech is super cool to look at. Like, oh yeah, I just shot a fucking rocket and this 10-story high building just came down crashing, killing everyone that was inside of it. Haha. But then it's like, at the 20th time that you do this, like, oh, okay, I've seen this, I guess. Where's the strategy? Where's the overall thing? Where's the deep gameplay that you were expecting, right? You're just, like, shooting stuff up randomly and killing people, which makes me, you know, a little bit concerned for Donkey Kong Bonanza, because that game looks fucking cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's the only reason I'm thinking of buying a Switch 2. It's the fucking Donkey Kong. I guess if I was more of a Mario Party enthusiast, I would be more hyped for that console. But Donkey Kong looks fucking cool. But if the answer for that game is, I'm just gonna fuck shit up until I get to the place that I want, it's like, I'm not sure it's gonna be as fun as a Mario Odyssey, you know? Like, if the deal to finding every secret is, I'm just gonna dig a hole in the ground and get there, it's like, it's gonna get old pretty soon, unfortunately. Maybe, yeah, like, but usually there's hints, right? Like, they leave you hints of, hey, there's something there in the horizon. There's, for instance, a very interesting thing on Blueprints. If you go to the starting garden, where you start every run, and you look at the horizon, like, to the right side of your mountain, you see some hallways going down, on the side of, like, carved on the side of the mountain. And true enough, that was a hint for a future puzzle that I got, that, like, open an elevator. Like, oh, it turns out I can go actually there. The game was hinting me that there was something in there, and usually people do this now. We are not in that level of in that gaming era where people will hide the most random shit in the most random of places anymore. Okay, now usually there's people like, hey, there's a hint for something there. There was a whole castle in Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, the first Legacy of Kain game, not the Soul Reaver ones that came now remastered, that were released now as a remastered collection. The game before that, there was a whole castle section, or a boat section, I think, that people were accessing it via debug code, and turns out there was a bunch of levers hidden throughout the game that you had to push to get there. And like people found out years later that turns out that that thing was actually accessible via the game and not via cheat codes, you know. We are not in that era anymore, thank God. Okay, like secrets that make no sense as well, that are like completely just random, just like no, just I don't miss that part. I don't miss that at all. Or developers face being the final boss head level. Yeah, that was Doom, right? I mean, that was more of a secret, right? Because they needed something to act as a hitbox, because you can't see it. Cow level was fun. Yeah, cow level was fun, but you can access cow level pretty easily. Like that, it's random, like it's randomly generated. I'm talking about like stuff like the Legacy of Kain, where there's like specific levers hidden throughout the whole world that you can access very hardly. To the cow, I mean, you mean the cow level from Diablo, right? From Diablo 1. You have to keep an early game, or was it 2? 2 was a random one, I think. Okay, yeah. That's kind of weird, but I mean, people eventually find out. What else? Ruben was saying there's layoffs happening at Polygon. Who's leaving Polygon? Oh man, okay, this is like, we're gonna end this stream with this last piece of news. Polygon has been sold to Valnet. Okay. What does Valnet own? Oh no. Oh no. Subsidiaries: Collider, Comic Book Resources, Give Me Sport, Movie Web, Open Critic. Okay. Screen Rant, XDA developers. Okay, this is... So Polygon has been sold to Valnet with numerous staff let go as part of the sale. Okay. Former Polygon editor-in-chief Chris Plante took to social media to confirm that he's no longer working with the outlet. I'm no longer with Polygon. If you're hiring, please consider the many talented writers and editors now on the market. Weird portfolio. Yeah. I mean, it's... These companies are like... It's a media company. They just go... Like, they just buy whatever, right? It's a little bit like Ziff Davies that own IGN, Eurogamer, and a bunch of other websites. Like, as long as it's like driving traffic to those. Nicole Carpenter as well. Like, oh man, this is not good. Polygon has been founded in 2000 Vox Media, site originally launched with a focus on long read content and magazine-style articles. Yep, website has been home to Brian Crescente, Russ Pitts, Justin McElroy, Arthur Gals. Kind of shame. Fuck. That's a lot of people. Well, I wish I had a gaming magazine to hire these people, not gonna lie. Polygon has been like, it's one of my go-to sites. They have some pretty interesting people over there, especially on the video site department. Kind of sad to see them like getting hit by this. I don't know if you like are aware, but we have Giant Bomb and GameSpot also kind of in a weird position right now, as apparently Fandom's boss has a new boss and like is making changes around as well. So GameSpot and Giant Bomb also stopped their live streaming last week, and they don't know when they're coming back. Giant Bomb was still a thing. Jeff Gersman was not there anymore. Like none of the original crew was there anymore. You had Jeff Grubb, you have Dan Reichert, Jen Ochoa, And who else? Mike Minotti, Lucy James, and Tamur. Which were like hopping between that and GameSpot as well. And Grubb said that streams are halted until they know more of it. I think it's the end for Giant Bomb, to be honest, at this point, which kind of sucks. Giant Bomb was one of the main sites that made me love gaming journalism, and seeing it like just being wasted by fandom, it's really sucks, honestly. Especially by fandom, which is a company that I am not a fan of. But you know, Brad, Vinny, and Alex Navarro were all doing a new thing called Nextlander. Jeff Kurtzman is solo now, and I think it's time for Grubb and the other people at Giant Bomb go independent, like so many people have been doing in the past 2 years or so. You know, we got Aftermath from people that came from the Escapists. No, Second Wind from people who came from the Escapists. You have Aftermath from people that came from Polygon and Kotaku as well. You have, you know, Patrick Klepek went independent, as well as Brian Crescente as well, and Jason Schreier went to Bloomberg, whatever. But like a bunch of games journalists are just going independent because I think this type of job is not sustainable anymore for big companies like this one. Most of these companies are like pivoting to AI or games guides overall, and like no one cares about opinion pieces anymore. They don't drive traffic. They don't, like, even reviews are kind of iffy at this moment, unless you're like an IGN, I guess, or you are, I mean, God forbid, you are controversial on your review. It's a sign of times, I guess. Like, a lot of people also pivoted to video content and not written content, right? So like more and more people prefer to see a TikTok or prefer to see a short on the YouTube or TikTok or like Instagram Reel or whatever, instead of opening a website and read a whole article. Which, you know, it's signs of times. It's how the media has been changing. Everything is either 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. Yeah. God forbid you give a 6 out of 10 to a game that people love, because it's gonna be the end of the world. Your site is gonna get canceled and you're not gonna get a job anymore. Yeah, this is gonna do it. We actually extended more than I was thinking, because I do need to leave and start working on stuff. If you're like if you missed the beginning of the show, YouTube is right there. You can follow me on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Podcast will be there tomorrow, hopefully. And if you like, you can follow me on social media. I mostly shitpost around there, especially on Instagram. And sometimes I take it off to Twitter. And if you want to hang out sometimes on Discord, there's a link as well. I think this week me and Rini were there playing Blueprints. But if you want to hang out and play some games, feel free to join. And in the meantime, I will find someone to raid. And I'll leave you guys with someone else. Let me see who's up. Or if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I was gonna say, what if we checked out André TGV? He's doing the news. Yep. A 5? What the fuck you mean it's a 5? All right, thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next week for another Fgeitas Show. If there's any streams during the week, I'll let you know via Discord or via socials, I guess. Take care, everybody.